thing for Middle Tennessee the last 2 months. At least I feel that's the case. So again, good morning. My name is Lou Caputo, and I have the privilege of serving as the CEO of TriStar Stonecrest Medical Center. I am pleased to announce TriStar Stonecrest's plan to expand emergency care access into Rutherford County through our TriStar Murfreesboro freestanding ER. For over 20 years, TriStar Stonecrest has proudly served Rutherford County. From the beginning, our mission has been to care for and improve human life. We have committed ourselves to providing residents with the highest quality care, and we continue to do so even today and plan to do so for long in the future. But right now, our neighbors in southern Murfreesboro have limited access to emergency care, and that works against our mission. When seconds matter most, we cannot risk long wait times or standstill traffic on I-24 and Murfreesboro thoroughfares. To address this access to care vacuum, the proposed site for TriStar Murfreesboro will be located at 2490 South Church Street, adjacent to the Barfield community. The proposed TriStar Murfreesboro ER is an initiative to ensure the city's growth never comes at the expense of what matters most, our health. Murfreesboro in Rutherford County has doubled in size since 2000. Now having a population over 350,000 people. Some perspective. Our community is now the size of Hamilton County and Chattanooga. Chattanooga has over a dozen hospitals and 10 emergency room access points. The same cannot be said for our community. Murfreesboro is one of the fastest growing cities in Tennessee, yet its access to emergency care is very limited. With only 3 options for emergency care today, residents should not have to worry about waiting rooms at full capacity when this is the moment of life or death.
So that was from the announcement today. You can watch the full video from this morning at wgnsradio.com. TriStar Stonecrest Medical Center in Smyrna taking steps to expand emergency care in Rutherford County, planning a freestanding emergency department in Murfreesboro that would be located at the corner of South Church Street and Warrior Drive, 2490 South Church Street. And if you're trying to get in mind where that location is actually where it is, it's at the corner of South Church Street and Warrior Drive. So more on that story at wgnsradio.com. If approved, the 11,500 square foot emergency facility would feature 11 exam rooms, including 1 trauma room, along with a fully equipped lab and imaging departments. The plan also includes dual entry points, one of which will be specifically designed for ambulance access. A $19 million project, and Louis Caputo, who we were just hearing from just a moment ago, making that announcement at the hospital in Smyrna. That would be part of the TriStar family. That's the breaking news from this morning on WGNS Access Tennessee News with Will Nunley. Coming up in a moment.
SRM Concrete. With every new day, every sunrise, we build structures that stand the test of time. And upon their foundations are our homes, where we work, where our kids go to school. And with that comes tremendous pride. We don't just make concrete. We build relationships, trust, confidence. We're SRM Concrete. Build with us.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the Law Offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
Middle Point Landfill's Mike Klassen.
Let's do the right thing and get some recycling programs off the ground.
Middle Point's trying hard to start a recycling program.
You know, if anyone sees your water bill, you have a waste charge on there, and the city has said it's going to go up from $11 per month up to like $33 per month. For less than half of that cost, we could put a cart at every single person's house and have a fully fledged recycling curbside program that would be immediately viable in this county. Like, that opportunity is here for this city, and it's here now.
The answer's here. Middle Point Landfill.
Ascension St. Thomas Heart is the leader in Middle Tennessee for heart care, providing the most advanced options, including heart surgery and transplants. Our nationally recognized cardiac team cares for more adult hearts than anyone in the state, from AFib to heart failure, using minimally invasive options when possible to help shorten recovery, making Ascension St. Thomas Heart your first choice for routine heart care and cardiac emergencies. Schedule a heart screening or find a cardiologist at ascension.org/St. Thomas Heart.
Access Tennessee News, I'm Will Nunley. As of today, families can begin applying for Tennessee's new Education Freedom Scholarships for the 2025-26 school year. The controversial program, which uses public dollars to pay for students' private school tuition, passed during a special legislative session this past January. There are 20,000 scholarships or vouchers available for K-12 students, which are worth around $7,000 each. State records show that 230 private schools have either expressed interest in participating or have officially registered to accept those vouchers. Nashville police continue to investigate a disturbing scene near Belmont University from Wednesday. A man was found dead in the driver's seat of a car that crashed near Belmont. Police say the man had gunshot wounds. The car crashed into a tree near 16th Avenue South and Wedgwood early Wednesday morning. Investigators have been canvassing the area for evidence and nearby surveillance video. The victim, meanwhile, has not been identified. More news in 30 seconds.
This is Betsy Maples with Maples Realty and Auction. Auctions are such a fun and easy way to buy real estate. We've got lots coming up. Don't miss out on this one.
Murfreesboro Estate auction of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a 30-by-40 wired shop, ideal for garage, workshop, or storage. The Murfreesboro home featuring a spacious eat-in kitchen, 20-by-20 den, and fenced backyard. The auction Saturday, May 17th at 1 p.m. More information at maplesrealtyandauction.com.
Maples Realty and Auction.
Sold by Maples Realty and Auction.
An arrest has been announced in connection with a mass shooting last month in Memphis. Bakari Roberts is charged with criminal responsibility for facilitation of first-degree murder, arson, and theft of property. Roberts has an extensive criminal record that includes illegal possession of weapons, theft, and vandalism. 6 people were shot and 1 victim died at the scene. Will Nunley, Access Tennessee News.
The Action Line with Bart Walker, weekday mornings at 8:10.
WGNS, your good neighbor station.
Rutherford County's place to talk. This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
I've got pets.
AmeriCare is Rutherford County's #1 choice in pest control, and it's simple to see why. After calling 893-7111, their staff came to my house 8 years ago when I had an insect problem. They looked at the situation, showed me the areas and what they'd recommend to resolve the problem. After treatment and with quarterly checks, I'm bug, critter, and creepy crawly free. Thanks, AmeriCare.
Call the best of the best to get rid of your pets.
AmeriCare, 893-7111.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. The Rutherford County Heart Walk is at 8 o'clock this Saturday morning over at Gateway Island. It's near the hospital behind Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. Hey, learn more about our local history? Come on over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse this Saturday morning from 9 until noon. Friends from the Rutherford County Historical Society will be there to share local history. And it's a great way for newcomers to learn about the community. It's all free. That's 9 until noon this Saturday at Ransom School, 717 North Academy Street. And it's the 50th anniversary year for the Rutherford County Farmers Market. 50 years of farm fresh produce. And it's every Tuesday and Friday from 7 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. The Farmers Market. It's over at the Lane Agri Park, 315 John R. Rice Boulevard. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Phone the Red Cross at 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give the gift of life at a time that fits your schedule. Give blood at the Red Cross. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, Because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Rutherford Issues, powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Now sharing change. They've donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits. You can find out how your spare change can make a big impact. SharingChange.org. State Representative Mike Sparks is here in studio. He joins us every other Thursday. And I was just in your neck of the woods just minutes ago.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, big announcement, wasn't it?
TriStar.
Yeah. Exciting news.
Yeah.
You know, have you been to the ER lately?
I try to stay out of there.
Well, I'm tell you what, I see his argument. You know, I was at the Murfreesboro ER with my late mother about 4 years ago, and in Murfreesboro, and I remember Butch Campbell was in there, chairman of the school board, Murfreesboro School Board, and I think I got my mom there at 10:30, and I think they finally placed her in the hallway at 6:30, and I had to get her to Trust Point, and she was about 89 at the time. She was 91 when she passed, and I called Butch the next day, and I think they finally got placed around 5 or 6 that night, and you know, it's a real need, and the argument about, you know, the fast-growing county, traffic on I-24, we need it. And I didn't realize, what was the numbers you gave me? Or
about 10 hours.
Yeah, and then I've been to Smyrna, you know, a couple times with my mother, and we really didn't have the wait at Smyrna that we did in Murfreesboro. So with all this growth, I mean, comes needs, and I think Stonecrest HCA is going to try to step up and meet that need.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see. Our population is greater than Hamilton County, who has 9 ERs. We have 3.
Wow.
They have double the beds, hospital beds, than Rutherford County.
Yes.
In Chattanooga. So interesting.
Well, it really is. All this growth, I tell people in California, stay in Detroit, stay in Chicago, stay in New York, and I don't know.
And you'll spend Tennesseans' tax dollars.
Well, just drive through on the way to Florida or Atlanta. But, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to get started on the traffic, congestion, overcrowding in schools. But, hey, it's a whole nother show, I guess.
Yeah, it was about 45 minutes for me to get back because I made the mistake of getting off on New Salem.
Well, I
they're paving out there. So,
graduation ceremony at Stewart's Creek at Murphy Center. Traffic was backed up to Sloan's over at Bumpus Harley. And on the way out, and I've got another graduation to go to tonight, Smyrna High, and I went out, is it Rutherford Boulevard, and turned out that way, so I avoided all that traffic. So I'm going to go in that way tonight, and I'm going to leave that way. So if anybody's going, take Northfield or Rutherford and come in what do we call the south side?
Well, now everybody knows which way to go, and so
that way.
They're going to go that way instead. So you can't let secrets like that out.
I know, it's a mess.
Well, what are we talking about here today?
Well, I talked to Terry the other day, and I happened to get a press release from my TennesseeLedger.com newspaper, and I was going to share it on there, and I hadn't talked to Terry in a long time. I said, Terry, how do you and I know each other? And it was from the Bible Park 20 years ago.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. And so we got to talking, and I was like, and she's very passionate, as well as General Bill Weitzel is going to join us. Is it general or is it emeritus general? General emeritus.
It's retired. I know that part of it. Yeah.
So that's the most important.
I said, come on up and let's advocate for children up here. So that's what we're doing.
Child Advocacy Center is our conversation. Terry, what have you been up to lately?
Well, I'm retired too, so Bill and I are 2 retirees, and but you don't stay retired for long. You gotta stay involved. And so when Bill asked me if I would help with communication for the Child Advocacy Center, I have a hard time saying that.
Yeah.
I said yes, and so I've been working as a volunteer on communications for about 5 months now. We've recruited a great team of people, the people that you all know, I'm sure. Nancy DeGennaro and Michelle Willard and Lisa Marchesoni are also volunteering with me. And we're trying to get the word out about this organization. It's been in existence now in Rutherford County for 25 years, in fact, celebrating the 25th anniversary this year. and it plays a critical role in prosecuting child sex abuse and child abuse cases. It's without this 501c3, we would not be able to do the work that needs to be done. And Bill can really talk about the process and kind of where this nonprofit fits in with all the other government agencies, really. But it's been a real inspiration to me to learn about it and then to turn around and try to help spread the word.
We've got a segment on this show once a month with our friends from the CAC. So Krista Colwell and Presley Hosford are usually the ones that are here. We just talked about the Hometown Heroes Walk and all the great things that were surrounding that. And Bill, the fact that 25 years ago there was this vision, you were on the ground floor of that, and part of the reason why that is a service that is available is because of the work of yourself and many others here in the community. And man, this has to be a model for the country, honestly, I would think.
Well, when we started ours here in Rutherford County, I knew that Nashville had one. I knew Knoxville had one, but I really didn't know a lot about them. And I had an appointment to go to Clarksville as a prosecutor pro tem, and I met with the district attorney up there, and he said, I want to show you something. And he showed me around his office, and he showed me two offices, small offices, and he said, this is our child advocacy center. And I noticed in one room it was just full of stuffed animals. And I said, John, the DA was John Carney, and I said, John, tell me what this is for and why you have it. And he said, it's a place that we can bring abused children, sexually abused children or abused children, and interview them in a child-friendly environment rather than going to the police department where there's a lot of officers walking around and guns, and a lot of children think they've done something wrong. They might be in trouble. Or being in the principal's office at school, and if you've ever been there, usually that's not a good thing. So he would explain to me it was to make the child feel comfortable, to conduct an interview, to have not only the law enforcement and the child protective services team there, so the child doesn't have to tell that story over and over and over again. And so that got me to thinking we need one of those. And I started looking into it, and at that time I had an assistant district attorney that volunteered to go to some meetings the Exchange Club was having concerning child abuse. And out of those discussions, that concept came up, and we said, we're going to have to do this. We started out at, ironically, what is now the Murfreesboro Police Department was at that time, the Murfreesboro Medical Center.
Yeah.
And a doctor had moved out and had two offices, and we were in that vacant space free of charge. The director was the only employee.
Is that right?
That's right. And we stayed there a few months until they rented that space, and we had to move out, and we moved into the city Department of Education out on Church Street. We had about 3 rooms out there. Stayed there a couple of years, and then the fire hall on Salem Pike, they built a new fire hall, and that was vacant. And I remember Roger Haley was the city manager at that time, and he called me and said, would you all be interested in moving your child advocacy center into a vacant fire hall? It's got a lot of room. And we were there for a number of years.
Yeah.
I want to say we were probably there close to 20, if not more years. And we had 2 big fire engine bays, and we kind of worked around and converted it into a facility that would work for us. And I guess we got complacent because we thought, well, this is such a great thing. The city's been so nice to let us have this and whatnot. And then the city, as the city does, things change, and they needed us to get out of the fire hall. So we did. Fortunately, COVID was going on at that time, so we bought a little more time because of that. But we found some office space in a doctor's building, and he has been gracious enough to lease that to us at a reduced rate. And we've got 1,600 square feet. You can imagine that compared to close to 6,000 square feet we had. So we're like totem poles. We're sitting on top of each other out there.
Yeah. And the work that has gone on in the last 25 years, you would know this better than I, but you mentioned the first hire. Was that Sharon?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so Sharon DeBoer has been there since the beginning, I thought.
Yes.
So, and now what a great team that is surrounding that, and the growth, Terry, from just the forensic interviews to now offering darkness to light training. That really helps to get the message out there for adults who are reporting these things,
Right, and the schools are a primary reporter.
Yeah.
School teachers, children sometimes tell their teacher what's going on, and they might not have told their parents. And so we want to make sure that educators are well trained on what to do, and that we're here to be a key partner in moving forward and getting that child representation and the help that the child needs.
The collaboration bill with several law enforcement agencies, this is the SIPIT, right? Our Child Protective Services team, our Child Protective Investigative team. If you can get people from different agencies to work together, then you've done something, and this works, doesn't it?
It does work, and in addition to the particular law enforcement agency, whether it be the sheriff's department or one of the city police departments, we have the district attorney's office that's involved. We take these children that report abuse, and we bring them to the Child Advocacy Center. We have trained forensic interviewers, and this is very important. And the reason it's important is because that child is going to be interviewed and make a statement. Is that statement going to stand up in court? And so the interview has to be conducted in a certain way that it cannot be challenged in court, such as the child's only asked yes or no questions. We let the child tell the story, and there will be a law enforcement officer, there will be a Department of Children's Services investigator there. They will observe the interview, not in the same room, but they will observe it. It is video and audio recorded, and that can be played in court. Now, that doesn't mean the child doesn't have to testify, but a lot of times it does save the child from having to testify because they're available if the defense wants to cross-examine them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I can. We were talking about going into a police department, and the dark walls and the policemen. I can only imagine how intimidating a courtroom would be.
Yes, it is, and you've got a lot bigger audience in a courtroom too.
Sure.
And but the job for the defense attorney is to, if they want to cross-examine that child, sometimes when an adult's on the stand and you don't think they're being truthful, you can kind of get on to them a little bit, but that's not what you can do with the child. And but they're scared and whatnot. So a lot of times this saves that child having to go through that, because the defense lawyer may say, I don't want to get up there and give the impression we're trying to beat up on this child in some way.
Especially when they've got the information there.
Yes.
It may be is likely indisputable.
That's correct. They have that. They know what the child's going to say. Another thing that's very important is we refer the Child Advocacy Center will set up and refer the child for a physical examination in Nashville at another nonprofit called Our Kids. They're specially trained to do forensic interviews on children and also to do the medical exam. And the history that child provides them prior to the physical exam can corroborate, and oftentimes does corroborate, their statement that's going to be played in court. So we've got two sources now where the child has given statements. And it's, you know, when I started in the DA's office back in 1980, if a child reported child sexual abuse, usually there was a police officer involved or someone like that. They would have to tell their story over and over. You know, there's going to be some inconsistencies when that happens, maybe just the way the question's phrased or whatnot. And that was it. That was all the evidence you might have. And it was very difficult sometimes to get a conviction. You know, you can't go in and say, everybody knows children always tell the truth. Well, that was not my experience as a parent. And that leaves the child there subject to attack. With these interviews and these forensic interviews, we probably have, I'm going to say it was a 50-50 proposition when I was first started. I'm going to say now it's an 80 to 90% proposition that we're going to get a conviction in the cases that go to trial. And
Terry, this is a huge problem. You know, I always tell Krista and Presley, you know, when they're here, we'd love for you to be out of a job and have to find some other work. But I mean, this affects a lot of children.
It does, you know, and I think most of us are aware that child sexual abuse and child physical abuse occurs. If you watch TV, you see it depicted. But being aware of actually the frequency is pretty sobering. The fact that 1 out of 10 children will be sexually abused by their 18th birthday, but only 38% of child victims disclose the fact that they've been sexually abused. So, you know, there's a lot of shame involved. Sure. There's a lot of fear involved. Sometimes the perpetrator threatens the child, you know, and says, you better not tell anybody. And so then sometimes the child, even when they do tell, they might just tell a family friend, and it might never get further reported, you know. So what we know is that the cases that come before the Child Advocacy Center and that are known about by law enforcement is the tip of the iceberg. I actually have in my family, growing up, one of my siblings was sexually abused. And it's not something we knew until he was an adult.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's just tragic. I mean, it just can ruin a person's life. So the Child Advocacy Center does its important role that Bill talked about, but they also do a lot of other things as well in terms of supporting families, referring for additional services, parenting training. So the organization really has a wide scope of services to help families and children.
Well, as we begin to wrap up our time, I always like to give people a mental image. So think about a classroom of 20 kids. 2 out of those 20, that's the statistic, you know. And how many classrooms do we have in Rutherford County? You know, so that number is large. Bill, this is great work that goes on here. I know that they've got a great staff, and you know it says something when you have your executive director there for 25 years and still going strong.
Yes, and we basically have our core staff there that's been there for a number of years. The problem we have right now is a lack of space, and we are working not only the board of the Child Advocacy Center, but volunteers like Terry. We are working to try to find us a suitable home and have enough space. You know, we've got people that when a police officer comes there, they might have to go out to their car to write their report because somebody else is coming in, and there's not room for them to have a place. And the last thing I want to touch on, and Terry mentioned it, we also have a program for what we call drug-endangered children. And if the Department of Children's Services gets a referral that a child's living in a house where one or both of the parents are abusing drugs. They give that to us. We have 2 people that go out, do a home visit, try to do an intervention with those parents and say, look, you either got to straighten up or your child's going to be taken away from you. And if I'm not mistaken, we did 210 such visits last year. And if not all of those parents, a vast majority of them got the help they needed so the child could grow up in a drug-free environment. And I think we could double that. Out of the 210 we did, I think we had 400 and something referrals. So if we had more space and a little more personnel, we could double what has been a successful program to get parents off of drugs and get the children in a safer environment.
CACRutherford.org, where you can go to find out more information. Our guest today, Terry Sterling, and also Bill Weitzel and Mike Sparks here on WGNS.
Greetings, friends. This is Lenny Farmer with the Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home in Murfreesboro.